We hear one customer's experience who isn't content with Contour Airlines service so far. Plus, the World Health Organization suggests we may soon be putting the pandemic in the past. We speak with doctors from both Jefferson and St. Lawrence counties to get the latest numbers from the North Country. But first, Tyree Nichols' family speaks Tuesday evening as thousands are expected in Memphis Wednesday for the 29-year-old services. Good evening, I'm Zach Grady. Thank you for joining us tonight. Preparations are underway in Memphis, Tennessee for Wednesday's funeral of Tyree Nichols. The Reverend presiding over his service hopes to see renewed action on police reform going forward. CBS's Christian Benavides has the latest.
Thousands are expected at the Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church in Memphis on Wednesday for the funeral of Tyree Nichols.
What did I do?
The Reverend J. Lawrence will preside over the service, and the Reverend Al Sharpton will deliver the eulogy. Lawrence tells CBS News he will focus on the 29-year-old's life and not his death.
We also want to make it a place for this family to find comfort and see the support and solidarity of this community that's coming around them.
The White House announced Vice President Kamala Harris will be in attendance.
This is about accountability.
On Capitol Hill, Democrats are trying to convince Republicans to help them pass the George Floyd police reform bill, which stalled in Congress last year.
We believe in protecting our communities, giving them the resources to succeed, as well as the accountability.
Lawrence hopes Nichols' death reignites the push for police reform.
I think this is going to be one of the defining moments of the contemporary civil rights movement, that his death will not be in vain.
Tuesday night, his family spoke at the Mason Temple Church, where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his last speech.
We all Tyree now.
That's right.
And we're all going to stand up with this family.
5 former police officers are facing second-degree murder charges. The Shelby County District Attorney is considering filing charges against at least 7 others. Christian Benavides, CBS News.
In other news tonight, the World Health Organization says that while COVID is still an emergency, it may not be for much longer. 7 News reporter Chad Charette spoke with doctors from both Jefferson and St. Lawrence County to find out what's going on here in the North Country.
Nearly 3 years into the pandemic, the World Health Organization says we've hit a turning point in the fight against COVID. Local doctors back that up.
I think that locally, we still have people in the hospital with COVID, not as many, and those who are in are not as ill.
The WHO says we're in a transitional phase, moving away from the pandemic. Dr. Wetterhahn says we can thank 3 main advancements for that.
We have testing, we have vaccine, and we have treatment. In 2020, we didn't have testing, we didn't have effective vaccine, and we had nothing to treat.
Although things are better than they were, the WHO acknowledges COVID is still a threat for some people. So doctors say it's best to stay open-minded to the precautions people take.
The decision to wear or not wear at this point depends on how much risk you have and how much risk you're willing to accept and who you might be protecting somewhere else. And I think we all need to look out for each other that way.
The Biden administration is expected to end the country's ongoing public health emergency come May. Dr. Andrew Williams with the St. Lawrence County Board of Health says that'll open the door for combating other issues.
I think this is an excellent time for us to refocus our public health energies on things like substance use, the mental health crisis, and fighting cardiovascular disease and other more significant public health issues.
Both doctors and the WHO agree we're in a transitional period, but we should make that transition cautiously. Chad Charette, 7 News.
John, looks like we're going to be getting a little bit of snow tonight. Is that right?
A little bit of snow after midnight, Zach, courtesy of a westerly wind coming off the end of Lake Ontario. Let's check the maps. First, weather, of course, brought to you by Doors Plus and Adams Center, and some clouds beginning to build on in, and a couple of flurries mainly in southern Lewis County. Yeah, that's all courtesy of a westerly breeze, and some of us will be moving some snow around. It looks like later on tonight and during the day tomorrow, too. Winter weather advisory in the blue, Jefferson, Lewis, and also Oswego counties, starting just after midnight, lasting right through Thursday at 6 a.m. Mainly clear skies at midnight, some snow moving in, say around 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning or so, and temperatures will actually be in the lower 20s by noon tomorrow, so running below average for the time of year. It gets really cold by the end of the week, so we'll talk about that. We'll check the weekend, too, here in a bit. Zach, back to you.
Thanks, John. Flights appear to be grounded out of Ogdensburg. 7 News has discovered that dozens of Contour Airlines flights between Ogdensburg and Philadelphia have already been canceled this month. 7 News reporter Brendan Straub has the details.
In summer 2022, Contour Airlines began providing nonstop service from Ogdensburg International Airport to Philadelphia. Over the past couple of weeks, however, services appear to have stalled at the terminal.
Every hour that I spend, waiting for a flight that's not going to take off is an hour I could have just been in the car making like a 5-hour drive, or saving my money elsewhere.
That was a frequent flyer of Contour Airlines who reached out to 7 News about her experience. She asked to remain anonymous due to her current employer. She says over the weekend she was attempting to fly from Philadelphia to Ogdensburg to visit her husband, who is stationed at Fort Drum. After waiting at the airport for her flight, she received a text message saying the flight had been canceled and automatically rebooked her for the next day. She waited the whole day in Philadelphia for the rebooked flight to take off. It was delayed multiple times before eventually being canceled as well. She says members of the ticket counter told her mechanical issues were keeping the planes from taking off.
Instead of just canceling the flights and not rebooking tickets until they have, the planes fixed, they just delay, cancel without any communication with passengers.
According to FlightAware.com, a flight tracking software, only 2 Contour flights have taken off from Philadelphia to Ogdensburg since at least January 17th. Only 3 flights took off from Ogdensburg to Philadelphia in that same time. Going both directions, a total of 34 flights were canceled in the last 2 weeks. The Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority says it is aware of the issue and is working diligently to help customers.
Right now, we're working with the airline to, make sure that that improves. It's our expectations that, the partners that we work with at the airport share that same philosophy, and we're not going to accept anything less.
We reached out to Contour Airlines for comment, but have yet to hear back. Brendan Straub, 7 News.
A memorial mass will be held Wednesday for the 6 men who died in Saturday's crash in St. Lawrence County. The mass will be held at 2 p.m. at St. Joseph's Church in Weedsport near Auburn. The 6 men died when a box truck struck the bus they were riding head-on. The crash occurred along State Route 37 in Louisville. The men were employees of WWNY, LLC, which is located in Weedsport. Burials for the men will be held in Mexico, where all 6 of the men were from. A father is charged of assaulting his infant daughter, causing bleeding around her brain. State police charged 23-year-old Jason Osorio of Luray with reckless assault of a child. He's accused of maliciously shaking the 4-month-old for 3 minutes, then throwing her into a baby swing in their living room. The incident allegedly happened Monday after police say Osorio became enraged at the infant's crying. Police say Osorio drove the child to the Carthage area hospital. She was diagnosed with a subdermal hematoma and a subarachnoid hemorrhage. She was taken to Syracuse for further medical treatment. Osorio was arraigned and granted pretrial release. The city of Watertown is one step closer to adopting its new zoning ordinance. The Jefferson County Planning Board Tuesday afternoon reviewed the city's zoning amendment. The board says the Watertown International Airport wants the city to keep in mind aviation regulations. Airport officials look to follow U.S. FAA height regulations in regard to high structures and tall buildings. The old Stewart Shop location on Watertown's Washington Street has been sold. In December, developer Bobby Ferris was going to take ownership of the building from Stewart's for $175,000. Now Ferris says he's agreed to transfer the sale to another developer at a lower price, about $159,000. Ferris says the price dropped because of the work that needs to be done to the shop. Records show Giannaco LLC of Watertown is the new buyer. Residents in the Bellevue-Henderson School District will vote on a capital project Thursday afternoon. The $4.4 million project would make improvements to the district's K-12 building and bus garage. About 70% of the project would be paid for with state aid. About $350,000 would come from capital reserve funds, and the remaining amount would be paid through a tax increase. The district says the goal is to improve safety, energy efficiency, and preserve the buildings. If approved, the construction would start in April 2024 and wrap up in August 2025. The vote is Thursday, February 2nd from 2 p.m. till 8 p.m. in the school foyer. From a Fort Drum daycare to the walls of the White House. Valentine's hearts colored by kids at the South River Ridge Child Development Center on Fort Drum will be on display in the home of President Joe Biden and the First Lady. Dr. Joe Biden spent time with the kids as they showed off their Valentine's Monday when she visited Fort Drum. It was part of her Joining Forces initiative, supporting military families, caregivers, and survivors.
Oh, I have so many nice pictures to take back with me to the White House so we can hang them up for Valentine's Day.
About 20 kids between ages 3 and 5 years old participated in the Hearts and Crafts activities. Still to come, Mel's in with your North Country Sports Report.
Hey, Zach, we're talking Watertown Red and Black football. That's story in sports.
Plus, when 7 News continues, for the first time in 2 years, it's back and in person. Snowtown USA gets ready to kick off this weekend in Watertown.
From the North Country's news station, you're watching 7 News Tonight with Garrett Domblewski. Tonight's weather with John Kubis. And your North Country sports with Mel Busler.
The winning evening lotto numbers for Tuesday, the daily 630 and the win for 3620. Below zero temperatures this weekend will make for some winter fun as Snowtown USA is just days from getting underway. It brings back snow sculpting, ice skating, and a slew of outdoor events to Watertown for the first time in years. 7 News reporter Lexi Bruning has all the details.
I think this is going to be great. I think that everything we did is going to come together.
A sight not seen in 23 years. The roundabout in Thompson Park Circle flooded with ice.
It's something I've been waiting for quite a while.
It's a returning tradition that dates back to the early 1900s.
If you Google the Park Circle freeze, you'll see a picture of 1901 coming up where people used to skate on the Park Circle here.
Empty now, but in 48 hours, the hope is to fill it with figure skates.
I'd like to see some kids out here rosy cheek, running around, skating.
Part of the return of Snowtown USA, a little later than originally planned. No snow and above average January temperatures forced the board to postpone the event until this weekend.
You know, it gets frustrating, but you know, it's Mother Nature. It's what we deal with up here.
Sitting in Thompson Park are these 6-foot wide, 8-foot tall snow blocks. But come this weekend, they'll be transformed into a one-of-a-kind sculpture.
The city has been really great on putting that together for us.
Some of the snow blocks put out overnight. Parks and recreation crews have been working both day and night when the temperatures are cooler because the sun is down.
So we had to borrow a machine from Dry Hill and make snow. That went from 5 p.m. Sunday until about 10 a.m. yesterday.
Ice skating and sculptures are hardly the only things on the schedule for this year's snow-filled celebration. Live music, basketball, and snow softball are all on the agenda.
We have put so much time, effort, and energy into this, and I just really hope that the public enjoys it this weekend.
Ice skating starts Thursday, and the Snowtown opening ceremony will be held at Dry Hill Friday night at 6 o'clock. Lexi Bruning, 7 News.
Changes are coming for one of the North Country's biggest cooking competitions. This year's North Country Chili Cook-Off will see 30 local restaurants with 30 chili recipes, facing off in 2 separate competitions. Before COVID, the cook-off was a one-day event at the Dulles State Office Building in Watertown. During the pandemic, it became a month-long event where people went from restaurant to try their recipes. This year, the Volunteer Transportation Center is combining both versions of the competition, which means more winners and, of course, more chili.
I think one of the best things is to see the creativity from the restaurants. You know, they get really into it. They try to figure out a little different recipe from other people. I mean, there's many that have the traditional chili, but some try to put a little spin on it, whether it be a white chicken chili or whether it be something with some exotic ingredients or whatnot. It's just kind of nice to see the creativity and really see these local businesses shine when they do it.
Proceeds from the cook-off go to the Volunteer Transportation Center. The State Office Building cook-off is on February 25th. The travel version starts Wednesday, February 1st. You can get chili at participating restaurants until February 22nd. When we're back, John Kubis is in with your full forecast.
Now, tonight's weather.
Quiet outside, a bit chilly too. That'll be changing, at least the quiet side of things. Later on tonight and tomorrow, a little bit of lake effect heading our way, a little bit more than a little bit over parts of the North Country. We'll talk more about that here in a minute. All right, 10 degrees, clear skies, winds are calm, no wind chill to talk about. Pressure is high, 30-30. Has been holding steady over the past couple of hours. 7 the low, 27 the high. As far as the averages, yeah, we're off just a little bit on both ends, but you know what? Fairly close to where we ought to be this time of year. 59, the all-time record high set back in 88, was a chilly one back in 2011. We got down to 23 below. Cold for you in Ogdensburg, you're at 8 below. No report out of Messina. 10 above in Lowville, 11 in Barnes Corners. Kingston currently at 10 degrees. All right, notice all is quiet outside right now, keeping it rather cold and rather dry. A couple of passing clouds in certain locales, and notice out over the center of Lake Ontario, a little bit of blue. Some snow, and that snow will eventually work on in, courtesy of a westerly wind flow. And because of that, the National Weather Service in Buffalo has issued a winter weather advisory. Start time 1 a.m., so in just a couple of hours, lasting right through Thursday. 6 a.m. Who are the players? Well, Jefferson County, Lewis County, and Oswego County as well. The greatest amounts of snow will be over the Tug Hill Plateau. Notice on the Futurecast overnight tonight, here comes that snow, generally speaking, towards daybreak tomorrow. Temperatures kind of all over the place. Single digits up by Messina, Potsdam, and Canton. Teens around Watertown and Fort Drum as well. As far as during the day tomorrow, looks like the bulk of the snow should be south of the city of Watertown, over the Tug Hill Plateau, and say if you're headed towards Syracuse, over Oswego County as well. How much snow are we talking now? Look at the end time on this. Through Thursday at 11:30 in the morning. So I think the Tug Hill could see anywhere from, say, 6 to maybe 12 inches of snow, a little bit less than that. Here in the city, we pick up a couple of inches. That'll be during the day on Thursday with more of a southwesterly wind, and potentially around 2 inches around Harrisville, 3 around Fort Drum. This is going to be the biggest storm we've seen, and the snow is going to fall pretty much over the Tug Hill Plateau. That's where the greatest accumulations will be. So some snow showers later on tonight, lows right around 9-10 degrees tomorrow. Snow showers, heaviest of the snow, we'll call it that, mainly south of the city of Watertown. Your highs in the lower to mid-20s. In Lewis County overnight, some snow showers developing off the end of the lake. Lows around 5 to 7. Tomorrow, some snow showers. Highs in the upper teens to lower 20s. In St. Lawrence County overnight, partly cloudy for you. Cold up Messina way. 6 below for your low. 6 above in Governor. Tomorrow, the risk of snow, best chance over towards the Adirondacks, and highs right around 20 degrees. Extended forecast showing us maybe some leftover snow showers on Thursday. And it'll be mild, relatively speaking, highs around 32. Powerful cold front moves through Thursday night. Look at the high on Friday, 2 below 0, colder in some spots. Cold Friday nights, a cool one on Saturday, and temperatures bouncing back up on Sunday, Monday, and also on Tuesday as well. That's all I have for now. Coming up next, Mel has sports. Stay tuned.
Now your North Country Sports.
Time for your Toyota Sports Report. Congratulations to Kelvin Eccleston of Indian River, who won the Frontier League Boys Diving Championship tonight. Nate Bliss of South Jefferson placed second. Also on the line, the Frontier League A Division Wrestling Crown. A full house on hand at Carthage for the Comets' battle with Indian River. The first match of the night at 102 pounds, Jackson Wells of Carthage pins Kima Gumau. We move to 118 pounds, Toma Gumau of Indian River with a 19-5 verdict over Aiden Downing of Carthage. At 126 pounds, Shea Sinitier of Carthage defeats Kane Lynch 7-5. 132 pounds, the Comets Landon Copley over Jack Countryman 15-zip. We move to 138 pounds, Manuel Gonzalez of Indian River pins Avery Lagasse. At 145 pounds, Logan Munn of Carthage defeats Caleb Welser 14-1. At 152 pounds, Cody Hope of Carthage pins Michael Ashley to end this matchup. At 172 pounds, Hunter Sanderson of Carthage records the pin over Braden Christian. At 215 pounds, Indian River's Davin Dwayne pins the Comets' Thomas Kennedy. And at 285 pounds, Camden Dorchester of Carthage pins the Warriors' Jared Cook. Carthage wins the A Division regular season crown by beating Indian River 48-23. Boys basketball, the top two teams in the East, Chateauguay at St. Lawrence Central. Jake Johnston to the rack and the putback, 2-0 Bulldogs. Ethan Cook through the seam for the lefty bucket for 2 of his 18 points. Aiden Beach fights off the defense and puts the Larrys on the board. He posts 19 points. Cook to Walker Martin, who nails the trifecta. Johnston for the layup and the foul. Bulldogs up 7. Johnston again from the land of threes. He nets 18. Xavier Shattuck with the hard take to the hoop. Harley Hartson to Damian Ashley, who drains the 3, but Chateauguay goes on to beat St. Lawrence Central 62-39. Boys hockey, big Division I matchup between Messina and Potsdam. Messina's Peyton Puente on the crossing pass to Chris Marasco, who tucks the puck over the goalie's pad. Raiders up 2-0. Riley Sunday with the shot, deflected off the keeper, rebounded by Bailey Rochefort, 4-0 Messina. Potsdam's Ryan Rutley slaps a shot from the point. John Duffy for the score. Potsdam would tally 6 straight goals, including Rutley's game winner with 1:19 left. Potsdam wins 6-4. Tonight's local scoreboard's brought to you by Kraft 836 Canteen on Coffeen Street in Watertown, featuring crafted specialty pizzas, shareable appetizers, desserts, and sandwiches. For great food to go or eat in, it's Kraft 836 Canteen. High school wrestling, Carthage defeats Indian River. Boys high school basketball, South Jefferson over Carthage. General Brown downs Indian River. Copenhagen a winner over Belleville Henderson. Elsewhere, Beaver River defeats Sandy Creek. Lowville a winner over Watertown. Colton Pierpont over St. Regis Falls. Brushton Myra downs Parishville Hopkinton. Lisbon a winner over Edwards Knox. Malone beats Governor. Canton a winner over Messina. Harrisville downs Morristown. Hewelton over Norwood Norfolk. Potsdam defeats Salmon River. Chateauguay a winner over St. Lawrence Central. Girls high school basketball, General Brown defeats Indian River. Elsewhere, Watertown a winner over Lowville. In other action, Brushton Myra downs Parishville Hopkinton. St. Regis Falls a winner over Tupper Lake. Men's college basketball, Clarkson defeats St. Lawrence. Women's college basketball, St. Lawrence over Clarkson. Women's college hockey tied up between St. Lawrence and Colgate at 3. Boys high school hockey, Potsdam outlasts Messina. Islanders over Tupper Lake. In boys high school swimming, Lowville a winner over Carthage. Lowville also defeats Canton, and it was Carthage a winner over Canton. Watertown Red and Black will hold sign-ups Wednesday night at the Fackney Drive Business Complex, but sign-ups will not be the only subject of conversation. The Red and Black switching leagues for the coming season, leaving the Empire Football League for the Gridiron Pro Developmental Football League. The Red and Black deciding to switch leagues out of necessity. The future of the Empire Football League is cloudy, so Watertown decided to act now to secure solid footing for the future.
It did become apparent through everything it was people were deciding from last year's teams that were in the Empire Football League that a couple of them teams were choosing to go somewhere else. And one of the teams that we had that was saying they were going to come into our league didn't ever transpire. It never happened. So we were down to just a few teams left in our league. And for our operation, we have to move forward and play games. That's what the players want to do. We want to play in a league atmosphere. We don't want to play in an independent schedule where you can just play anybody because you play 8-10 games and there's no championship involved in any way.
The Gridiron Pro Developmental Football League is an umbrella group that encompasses teams from across the nation. Watertown will play a schedule that includes other teams from throughout New York State.
Yeah, we're going to go from the Albany, who's the Troy Fighting Irish, to maybe a team at Orchard Park in Buffalo. So it's 3 hours one way, 4 hours the other, which would be normal travel for us by just traveling like we used to Plattsburgh or to Albany or Glens Falls anyway. So, geographically, it's a good fit. I think that it'll be very competitive. The Syracuse Strong's always good. They were last year's champs of the whole division. They played a team out of California, out in Vegas for the championship. And travel would be the only time would be for the playoffs if need be to really travel. So, we'll prepare for that, and we'll hopefully have to do that. That would be our goal.
It certainly opens up opportunities for national exposure.
Definitely. The team that we played down in Florida was in first place of this league on the East Coast last year. They got upset in the playoffs, like, they were undefeated, but they got upset by the number 4 team, and that team had to travel up to Syracuse, and Syracuse beat them, which put them out in Vegas playing a championship, which they beat a team from California that was undefeated. So on any given day, anybody can play their best game and come out the champ. And again, that's what we always are trying for anyway. So this will be a lot of new faces. It'll be a challenge. It's going to be a huge challenge, and we want to be up for it.
The 8-game regular season is expected to begin June 3rd. Playoffs would take place in mid-August with the final Labor Day weekend. It's a new chapter in the storied history of the Watertown Red and Black, a history that dates back to 1896. Zach Grady next.
A little bit of snow heading our way after midnight tonight and tomorrow as well. And look at these temperatures, upper teens around 11, then lower 20s by 5.
For myself, John, and Mel, this has been 7 News Tonight. Thank you for joining us.